Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Good morning. You are listening to Time for Hemp live. No, it's not right. It's not live. We're pre-recorded, but you can find us on Tumblr, SoundCloud, and, of course, iHeartRadio. We are the only 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, all cannabis, all the time broadcast on iHeartRadio. Please share us with your friends. It is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we salute the hardworking people up in Canada with my joint host, KDK founder, Kelly Kriston. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Casper. How you doing today?
Pretty mellow, thank you. And we've got a returning guest today, Steve Danks, and I know that you and Steve...
A guest?
You and Steve share the...
host, if you don't mind.
You and Steve share a lot, especially your leader, right? The Queen of England.
I don't want to admit to that. I don't know about Kelly. I'm not having it. Mind you, there is an interesting one. Canada's legal and England's not, and England's not going to go legal. But and Australia's going legal. So we've got sort of two Commonwealth countries that are legal, yet let's call it the mother country, for want of a better word. It's not legal. How does that work then?
It's not legal here, but it is legal for medical patients.
Well, you have something. In England, we have nothing.
Not legal at all, even for medical patients.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say... Yeah. It's a little bit. It's not good enough, as we all know, but it's a little bit. But here, now we've got our new government. They are completely anti, of course. But because we have GW Pharmaceuticals, and they're doing such a brilliant job, that we don't have any need for anybody else to come in and start telling them about cannabis. So nobody's getting there looking over it. It's all totally illegal unless it's GW's.
GW or GW?
GW Pharmaceuticals.
And
that's the last time we mentioned their name. Okay? They should be referred to as Company X.
What kind of products do they offer for sale in the UK?
I refuse to talk about them on grounds that they are completely corrupt criminals. They offer something with a grain of cannabis and 98 or 90% alcohol in it. Yes, and they make millions out of it. Yes, and it's about £100 for that little gram. It's the most expensive drink you'll ever have. Well, possibly not. The most expensive, worst drink you ever have. Possibly not. Yeah.
So nothing's going on over there. I heard you.
No, it's not so much.
I heard Romania's hot and heavy all of a sudden. They went. You say legal?
Yeah, I've not had confirmation. I've literally just had an email about 20 minutes ago from a reliable source saying it's gone legal. I would have thought it would have, because all the satellite countries around it have. So they're going to be pretty... And Romania, of course, is the home of good quality European hemp. Always has been, always has, you know. I mean, that's Steve from the... What's his name? I can never pronounce his second name. The guy that runs the dispensaries down in Colorado, Steve with Ace. Steve, he's the big guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Casper, you know him. Steve Ace. Steve
Elliott.
Yeah, he runs all those dispensaries. He's got the...
Steve D'Angelo. Steve D'Angelo.
Well, of course, he was down there for years, wasn't he, with his hemp company? So he's pretty well informed about what Romania is and what good quality hemp that was grown down there historically, and up until recently. So it was only a matter of time. I couldn't understand why they wasn't going So yeah, that's good news. I'll get that checked out.
So now they're legal for medical, is what you're saying. They're not legal.
I think they're just gone. Eastern Europe seems to be just going right. Can't be asked. Just make it all legal. Yeah, because they've all got a good hemp industry anyway. The medical side of it, oh God, at this stage of the game, the logistics of it, trying to work it all out, I think they've just given up. And pretty much it grows down there wild anyway. Yeah, it's never been a great big deal. Yeah, because it's just one of those plants that they've always had and always kept going. Yeah. So as I say, I'm not too sure the ins and outs and the details, but pretty much the countries around them, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Poland and stuff, they've all pretty much just been going legal. Yeah. And sort of working it out from there, not getting too involved. Because again, watching this American scenario pan out about the legality of it, well, it seems to me that we're better off as it was. I mean, some of the legal stuff that's coming up or coming out, I mean, Jamaica, I was so excited. I was in Jamaica when it all went legal. And it was looking so good. And even the minister told them, well, go and do it, and then if it goes wrong, we'll fix it. And bless them, they sat down and they wrote this document about how they're going to do it. And it's the most tight-ass document I've ever read. I mean, some of the things that they've put in it, you know, they've made themselves... It's going to be very difficult to follow this protocol that they put in place. That's all I can say. And I can't see that it was necessary either. They've made laws where there wasn't laws. So... I don't know, legality, what's all that about? A plant that's free, a plant that's been here for 600 million years, a plant that does everything, a plant that, you know, we need every day on a daily basis to repair our bodies that are broken, keep us oldies going, and of course, as the beautiful doctor from Israel, Ralph, said just recently before he retired, everybody needs some every day, about a gram a day, just as it makes your body work. Your body doesn't work well without it, or it doesn't function properly, you know. Bob Millimeter, you know, look at his work. He's saying the same, that without this stuff in you, that your body doesn't work. It's like oxygen, like air, like sun. But sunlight and air and water, we degrade a lot quicker. This cannabis, taken, 2 or 3 generations. And now we're seeing the end results. Look at all these poor children being born around the world with all sorts of nightmare diseases that we never even heard of before. Yeah, and not ones and twos, but loads of them. Cancer kids, God. When I started off a couple of years back, there was a few. There was little Casey that passed over, unfortunately, and Charlotte, and you know, you got to know them. And now there's whole websites dedicated to them. You know, where did all these children come from? Where did all these diseases come from? Well, as Bob Millimeter says, and Mitchell Miller says, it's lack of cannabis. It's an essential ingredient to our life. So the legality of, it's almost like legalising air, isn't it? You can only have 6 breaths on Sunday if you're poorly. I don't get it, yeah? I just don't get it. And especially my aspect, because I got involved in the medical because I had cancer and it fixed me. That job's pretty much done now, and I've moved back now to my agricultural hemp roots. And what this does is the other side of the plant, but it's just ludicrous. It's like what it doesn't do. And what doesn't it do? And the more we're discovering about the agricultural side of it, the more fantastic it's getting. I mean, there's a team in France now that have been looking at how the pyramids were built. And as I've been saying for years, they were poured. They were never carved. They're sandstone. And you've only got to look at hempcrete, and it seems pretty perfect that would fit the bill. And if you look at GG Geontology anyway, they found rope, they wore the cloth, they found it in the medicine, they wrapped the mummies up in it, they used it oil for lanterns, so it's pretty obvious that they had it there. Well, why wouldn't they have known about hempcrete? They had the lime, they had sand, they poured the bugger. And now this French team, anyway, they've been looking at sort of other stuff that could have been done, and I dropped the hemp equation into them just recently, and they've gone, oh my God, of course it is. Water and lime and cannabis. You build a pyramid. And all the ancient buildings of Babylon and Rome. Rome, you know, they know that Rome was built out of something very similar. They're saying that it was Vesuvius, the volcanic rock from Vesuvius. Well, yes, it was, because it was in abundance and it's a great mineral. But the rest of Rome wasn't built like that, or outside of Rome, because it was too expensive and there wouldn't have been enough of it. And Romans built road from hemp, so why didn't they build their buildings from it? Well, they did. It's obvious.
I never knew they built roads with it.
Yeah, Roman roads. They used hemp and horse chestnut. I can't quite work out yet why this horse chestnut thing went on. But the Romans always mixed their hemp with horse chestnut. I'll get there one day. I'll spend some time and look at it. There's a funny old equation going on now. Even the Globe Theatre in London was built, the old Globe was built from hemp and horse chestnut. It was everywhere. So as an ancient building material, we've been using this from time immemorial, really going back right into the ancients,
Well, I've been using it almost my whole life.
Yeah. But as I say, isn't it fantastic that it gives us all these other things as well, not just this medical side or this feeling of well-being or this wonderful recreational pleasure that it gives us, but we had buildings that last forever out of it. We have clothing that is UVB proof and warm in winter and cold in summer, and oh my God, and now that they're working out this nano carbon fibre technology, it makes energy. The bloody fibre makes energy. So it's basically a battery. Was this the Baghdad battery? I believe it was. And I'm actually going to make one in my garden quite shortly, because that's the joy of hemp. You don't need big laboratories. You just need some hemp or some cannabis and some knowledge, and sit down and play with it and see what happens. And you normally find that it works. And if you can do it in your garden or in the field, then the industry have only got to ramp it up. They can do it on larger scales if necessary. Do we need it on larger scales? We'll be growing it locally and using it locally. Maybe these district anomalies like good quality champagne is shipped about. But really... Well,
there's definitely different qualities of hemp. Sure.
Why would you bring hemp in, say, you're in Canada, Katie, you've got a great hemp industry up there. You started in 99, right? And I believe that it was about 2 years ago that Manitoba Harvest was one of the first companies, the first hemp companies in the world to actually become a proper company. Now, to become a proper company, you have to sort of do £5 million or $5 million worth of turnover. And then you're recognised as a company. And they went through that barrier. But it took them a long time to get there. The Canadian hemp industry struggled a lot in its early days, finding out about what strains to use, what varieties to use, how to harvest it, how to manufacture it. America's going to be the same. You can see it at the moment. There's all these experts there that know all about it. Well, they're not experts, because if you've been doing this job for 20 years, you get to know who's been out there and who hasn't. And I don't know where these guys have been growing hemp and where they've been learning about it. But it certainly wasn't in America. They certainly haven't been out to Russia. A few of them came over to Eastern Europe and learned. Stanley Brothers, for one. One of them come over there, spent time over there. That's where they got their seed from, to take back Charlotte's Web. That's called Compulty 303. And they dressed it up as something else and try and make out it was something different. So I don't know. I saw one expert. He's just taken over some Indian place and he's planted hemp out in pots. For the life of me, that is just, I can't believe that they've done that, or that somebody's even been foolish enough to listen to this expert, that they've taken plants and put them in pots in the ground as agricultural hemp, and they're proud of the fact. Growing indoors under lights and pots is a completely different plant to this hemp one. It's actually is a different plant. Same family, same sort of jig, but it's actually a different one. And it grows differently, and it acts differently, and it has different root, and it does different things at different times.
Are you growing any hemp there?
I'm growing in my back garden this year because I've got a couple of fields down in Devon, but that's too far for me to get to. It's about 3.5 hours away. So I decided that I've always wanted to live in a wild crop of mixed variety. And so this year, I planted out my back garden. Not a lot. I've got about possibly... I'm looking at it now. I've got about 150 plants. Yeah, my back garden, the dirt that I made from all my vegetable waste is 30 4 strides long by 1 stride wide. And I will grow enough hemp in there to produce loads of stuff.
Stride, is that an official measurement?
Sorry? That's a pretty official measurement. It's by 1 stride. It is actually. A stride was an old English measurement.
I don't doubt it.
And you said, right, how many strides do I get? Because a stride is roughly a yard, and a yard is roughly a metre. So village would have a man called the Strider. And basically, he was the tallest, longest, leggy guy that they could breed up. And when you went and brought land, you took your Strider.
Of course.
Of course you did. He was your Strider, so he got the 100 strides. Farmers, argue over half a stride of land. But then again, if it's very productive land, you would do. So how's Canada looking, Cody? It's all about me, isn't it? I bet you're going to throw something.
No, that's all right, because, well, you don't get on the show that often, so I don't practice.
I know.
We're planting more hemp, of course, each and every year. A few more acres went down.
You've seen the figures?
Sorry, I missed that.
I've seen the figures, definitely. The whole of Europe and Canada is definitely on the increase, and China, of course.
Well, we're building an industry, and I think there's great demand for our product. It's apparently quite good quality hemp, and our government even helped subsidize or help promote hemp in the
it did indeed
outside Canadian borders by giving them a grant. You bet. So they seem to be all right with hemp, and of course they seem to be all right with medical, although we do have a federal election coming up this fall, and has maintained being in the news or being a part of the political landscape, which has never really been in the history. It's sort of a footnote, or they talk about it and it's quickly dismissed as more major issues come to the forefront as the election moves on. But as soon as Trudeau stated that he would legalize cannabis if elected, ever since that point in time, it's really stayed in the news. Even the Conservative Party is now running ads, of course, to put Justin Trudeau down, and they even mentioned in their ad, is marijuana really that big of an issue? And it's like, yeah, it is. You guys are trying to take us back as far as possible, and just the Liberal Party's trying to legalize. So, yes, it is a big issue when it's big enough that if you can put it in your campaign ads to smear the competition, obviously it is an important issue. And that's what's different about right now in cannabis in Canada. And people are ready for a change. Provincially, we did it here in Alberta, 44 years of 44 consecutive years of rule by the Conservative Party. And now federally also, people are looking for change. So not only here in the province of Alberta on a provincial level, but also on a federal level. A little bit on the news last night. Yeah, it's they're calling it a three-way fight, honestly. So normally it's just a two-way fight, and then the NDPs fit in there somewhere, depending on how many people, they get a few seats, of course. So it's changing here, and I really think that we're going to have a different majority, hopefully majority government, whether I'm happy with the minority government, of course, as long as it's not the Conservatives. And it really looks like Canada's ready for a change. Is that change going to be for the Liberal Party or the NDP party? I'm not sure. But any vote, I always tell my motto is vote, it's ABC, anything but Conservative. So, it's looking good here.
And are they all pro cannabis, or are they some of them anti? What's their take?
And the medical program, they're still before the courts with whether to allow patients to grow for themselves. But last week there was a decision handed down where concentrates are now legal. So any patients who want to make butter or hash or any kind of oils or tinctures or anything now is possible. So all concentrates are now legal for medical patients, which is another big plus and another move forward. So even though we have a repressive or oppressive government right now in power, we're still moving forward.
And of course, it's very difficult for them, isn't it? Since this vape thing came in, you know, I've noticed so many people now walking around with vapes, and I know that they're using CBDs or THCs in them. Yeah, and of course, the police. How are they going to police this new industry now? You know, this is legal, this is not illegal. What's a concentrate? What's not a concentrate? Or can I stop you? So I think you might have a cookie. It's unpoliceable. Really, it's unworkable. Yeah. Isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm going to be unworkable if I don't take a commercial break here and pay my bills. And then after that, we're going to listen to a song about how fantastic marijuana is. And then we're going to come back and pick up where we left off here at Time for Hemp. Listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
Where is your dealer when you need him the most? You just got paid, but you're all out of dope. Well, you can't live your life this way. You haven't had a buzz in days, and that ain't no fucking joke. You pick up the phone and call a few friends just to find a few seeds and a couple of stems. I don't think you'll get high that way. You'll probably drive around all day, but you won't find any smoke. 'Cause it's another dry day, there's nothing around. All the cash in the world would buy you an ounce. You really don't know, you're ready to cry. Well, how can you smile if you ain't getting high? Another dry day going out of your mind. I'm sorry to say, but you wasted your time. Another dry day, it's another dry day. You needed to get high yesterday. You better get on your knees and pray. Chief Greenbud's on the way. it's another dry day. There's nothing around. All the cash in the world would buy you an ounce. You really don't know. You're ready to cry. How can you smile if you ain't getting high? Another dry day going out of your mind. I'm sorry to say, but you wasted your time. Another dry day. Well, it's another dry day. Where is your dealer when you need him the most? You just got paid and you're all out of dope. It's another dry day, there's nothing around. All the cash in the world would buy you an ounce. You really don't know, you're ready to cry. Well, how can you smile if you ain't getting high? Another dry day going out of your mind. Sorry to say, but you wasted your time. It's another dry day. Well, it's another dry day. It's another dry day.
That was Chief Greenbud with It's Another Dry Day. And Chief Greenbud is a great musician. I would encourage you to find his work on the internet and share it with your friends. It is Tuesday. I want to say thank you to all of our friends up in Canada. Great big thank you to KDK Distributors for being nice enough to give us a grant to keep us loud, proud, and strong. And the founder, KDK Distributor, and his team also do a lot of nice things for the marijuana movement and industrial hemp movement, one of which is to make certain that those who are ill are able to take their medication in a more healthy manner. Right, Kelly?
Absolutely. We offer a free vaporizer. Yes, I know. I said free. And yes, I mean free, 100%. We even pay to send it to you. We'll get it right to your door. It's easy to qualify. You just have to be a medical patient who uses cannabis to treat whatever ailment it may be. And the other request is that you're on a limited income. We're looking for, of course, people who couldn't regularly afford to buy one all on their own, and they need some financial assistance. As you know, I know a lot of medical patients, certainly here in our country, in Canada, they're on assisted income, welfare, disability pension, old age pension, whatever the case may be. And it's difficult just to be able to afford to pay rent and buy food, let alone think about getting some medication and then on top of that, trying to afford a quality vaporizer so that they can consume their cannabis in a much more healthy fashion. Honestly, it's actually a double-edged sword. Not only is it healthier for them to consume their cannabis through a quality vaporizer, but it's actually a money-saving device. The patients report using 50 to 70% less cannabis after using or purchasing a quality vaporizer. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for these people. Not only is it healthier for them, it's also less expensive. So it's great. It's great for the people who are on limited income. Super simple to apply. Send me an email to Kelly, Kelly, at kdkwholesale.ca. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and always nice if you can include a photo. We sure like to hear from you because we definitely love to give them away. So either you yourself, or certainly if you're listening, you know somebody who could use a quality vaporizer and can't afford one. And it can be anywhere in the world. We have devices that can go to different electrical requirements or whatever, whether you're in the UK or Europe, or we've sent them to Australia, wherever. Just Israel, just let us know where you're at, of course, and we'll send you the appropriate machine.
That's amazing.
And the person whose name is drawn will be listed in the joint conversations each month. So make it a point to go to timeforhemp.com and check out our Joint Conversations, our online magazine. And if your name's not drawn, Kelly, the name stays in the hat, right?
Absolutely. We don't ever toss it away. So if you happen to move or anything like that, just resend some information so we have it.
And it's very kind of you, Kelly. Thank you so much on behalf of the marijuana movement for making that happen. I'm going to let you and our joint guests get back to our joint chat here on the joint broadcast on Time for Hemp.
Hi, guys. I got cut off for a bit.
All right. Well, I understand you found some kind of historical relic about some kind of hemp pyramid.
Can I just first say, look, I'm on air with you two guys, right? What Kelly does with that and what you do, right, I'm just so impressed to be just in the same breath as you guys, honestly. I think you're amazing what you do. And this is what always amazes me. Without people like you in this cannabis industry, we would have never had one. We all know what we've had to do to get here.
Absolutely.
You know, really, we all know, because none of us got here after all the years that we've done an easy way, because there was never no easy way to get it. Just to have survived this amount of time is quite exceptional when we think of some of the warriors that we've lost along the way. But I think now it's a new dawn coming. I think now that for once people are going to start really understanding what this plant is. And that takes me on to what you were just saying, Casper. Yeah. That even it looks like now that there is a team in France that have been looking at how the pyramids were built. Now, everybody always understood that this carving of stone was a bit ludicrous and a bit ridiculous, and we all went along with it because there was nothing else on the table. And I've also got to tell you that I do believe that there is many that have been in charge of this project because of finances. They've been happy for us to believe that. Yeah, but that's not what this is about. Yeah, I've believed for a long time that those stones were poured. Yeah? And I've been looking at some work that's been going on around the world with these new polymers and stuff. Yeah, it's got a big name. It's geo blah, 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 which I can hardly pronounce. Yeah, but there is a science out there, and there's a particular team in France, and this guy has been going around saying, "Well, look, these bricks were poured. This is how it was done." Now he didn't quite get the mix right, okay, because he's not a cannabis expert, and I am. Yeah, so I've done some experimenting with this hempcrete, as they call it. It got its name by. Back in France, back in the early 90s, a lady over there found out a mix which she believed was Roman. She put it together on chanvre. Yeah. That got picked up quite rapidly throughout Europe because it was such a good building material. It was used in Germany. It got all the German building regs. And believe you me, if you can pass German regulations for building, you can pass any regulations anywhere in the world because they are the strictest and the most stringent. And they're also very eco-German. Yeah, you know, you have to build ecologically sound. Even back in the early 90s, they were understanding this, and this material fitted the bill. So he got his build. As soon as he got his building regs in Germany, of course, architects and other builders started to look at it because they thought, well, you know, a building material that's got building regs from Germany, this is serious stuff. And slowly but surely, people got involved in it. A guy called Ralph Carpenter. There's a great guy out there that I know who's just done some workshops, or he's doing some work. His name's Steve Allen. He got an amazing book, or several books on how to build with hemp. Yeah. And he's one of the great hemp builders. He really understands. The British Museum in England has used hempcrete now to build a new storage facility, because problems with storage facilities is, especially with old stuff, is keeping the temperature constant and keeping the humidity perfect. And hempcrete just does both of those automatically. So when they saw it, they realised it was the only material to use. I believe the British Library's done it. One of our big supermarket chains has done it. A very big brewery has done it. I know in France there's a lot of buildings going on with it. I know in Germany there's a lot of buildings going on with it. So as a building material, it really is quite excellent. Yeah. But me being me, I wanted to sort of get involved in it. I've been looking at it for years, and I've had some time on my hands, and I've decided that all I wanted to look into now was the building aspect of it. Yeah? Now, I built some bricks, and I built some bits and bobs out of this, and I've been on a couple of courses, yeah. And because I've only got a little crop, and I've only got a little backyard, I came from a long, long time ago when I was very young, I was lucky enough to work for a company called Fletcher Speedboats, and they built these amazing speedboats. In fact, one of them was used in James Bond film. It was that golden one. Anyway, so I knew a bit about moulding, and I know a bit about fiberglass, and I know a bit about polymers and stuff, right? So I thought to myself, I reckon this stuff would be good for moulding, yeah? And I know there's another product out there called Zelloform, right? That was a fantastic product, but that got held up in the courts. They was arguing over who owned it and the money. So that's been sitting sort of on the back burner for at least 10, if not more years, while guys fight over the legality of it. Now, I understand how that stuff's made as well, but it's not what I wanted to make. So I made some moulds up. Now, my back garden's quite interesting as well, because when I moved into my little flat 3 years ago, I was a very ill man, and I didn't think I was going to live. And I went raw juicing for a start. So all the vegetable matter that I was getting through, I made the compost out of it. And I composted a bit of land in my back garden. And then last year when I was here, I grew a bit of medicine in that back garden from my own seed, because I sort of bred up an English variety of something that would grow outdoors here that would be adequate for giving me some decent medicine. So I wasn't beholden to I wouldn't call it the criminal market, but the illegal market in the UK, because the illegal market at the moment, it's over £10 per less than 1 gram. That equates to over $20 a gram, by the way, guys. And it's not a particularly good quality. So obviously, being a patient out of time, I need this medicine. I take this medicine on a daily basis. So the actual progression for me was last year to grow a couple of plants in my garden under sunlight, which I did very successfully. I took those seeds, so I've got 3rd generation seeds, and I've been crossbreeding them with some old English variety. And this year I planted out the whole of my little bit of garden, which, as I say, is about 3 strides long and about 1 stride wide. And all that dirt in there is pretty much came from my own compost or came from me. And I've grown a little crop out there. So I don't want to start building houses with it because I ain't got enough. So I started to do some moulding work. So I broke one of the plants down and broke it all down into this mix. And I added the lime with it, right? And I live on lime. Where I live in Hastings in England, I'm not far from Dover. And most of you have all seen a film about the White Cliffs of Dover. Well, that's lime chalk. I live on top of that place. So lime is in abundance here. So when I got some lime and we fired it up and turned it into hydroxylated lime, and the water I got from the natural spring, right? So I've grown this plant in my ground, in my land, from my dirt, from my seeds. I've now harvested that from last year's stalks, and I've used those stalks mixed with natural lime from where I live and mixed with natural spring wort, and there's a little bit of preparation X, if you like, right, which is from nature and is totally in abundance. I just don't want to say it yet on air what that bit is, but it's a little bit of love. You mix that in and you end up with this paste, which I've called hemp stone, and I've moulded it. And I've done a couple of lines with it, and I've done a couple of skulls with it, and I've done some green men with it, just like little mouldings, and it's coming out fantastically. Now, one of the joys of this material is you see, because you mix lime with hemp is basically cellulose, and the water in it mixes it all up, and it changes it chemically, and what it actually does is it starts to petrify. It gets stronger with age, gets harder with age. So it basically turns to rock, Now, the planet takes a long, long time to do that. And you've only got to look on these, the periodic table, if you like, and it shows you that you mix lime with this, and you mix it up with that, and through temperature and time, this is what happens to things, right? So it's not crazy science, it's standard Earth science, It's just being utilised in a different way, So now I've got this building material, and I've got some pretty amazing pieces. And funny enough, I put a couple up on eBay. They've been selling as well. I sold one for $2 because I only put them up at $1.99, and I sold one. Somebody gave me £40 for one, which is like $80. So in a sense, as you can see, technically they don't have a value because everything in them has been pretty much for free. It's just for my own knowledge and my own time. And because they could be made in abundance, I would really take what I can get for them anyway. But it was nice to get £40 for something, or nearly $100 for something, a bit of artwork, basically made out of some cannabis stalks, which everybody throws away, some water, which came out of a spring, out of a well, and some lime, which is literally, this part of my country is built on it. So we're never going to run out of that. So really, it's an exercise in trying to make something and selling it to finance what I'm actually doing. And I can see that being quite successful. Now, it wasn't an exercise in trying to make a lot of money. It was an exercise in trying to do something sitting at home using hemp or using cannabis, which I've now done. Now, when you look into the properties of this material, oh my God, you're in for a shock. One, it petrifies. So basically, what you've got is something that's turned into stone. So because it's petrifying, that's dying. It's changing chemically to become something else. Well, that's actually living. It's living. And now I've had one for a couple of weeks. My oldest one is about 2 weeks old. It actually changes every day. It gets darker or lighter. It absorbs more water, or it doesn't absorb water, and it likes to see in the sun. It just and it's actually you can see it changing. Yeah. One of my lions, it sort of expanded inside of its outer case, and it started to crack. And I took it to a guy in my old town that collects old skulls, and he looked at it and he was so impressed with the cracking and the finish. Because really, again, what that is bone. See, calcium is calcite and calcite is bone. Now, there's other things about this stuff too, you see. It's water permeable, right? So water trickles through it. So I've made a little, I love fish, so I've made a little like water feature in the garden. And I'm trickling water through this bedrock of this paste that I've made. Now, well, how's water filtered? Well, it filters through limestone. That's how the rain comes down, and it falls on the ground, and it falls through the ground, and it hits the limestone, and the limestone and a couple of thousand years later, it comes out in a stream. So I'm passing the water through limestone. That's filtering it. Now, I haven't managed to get any tests done on that yet, but the next thing I'll do is I'll get a fish and I'll put a fish in it. And if a fish lives in it, I know it's clean, then we go and get it tested. But that's how the earth cleans. So if I put fairly clean water in it and then pass it through this fish tank thing, it's automatically filtering it, doing away with filtration. And it also becomes then, I'm thinking of drinking fountains for outside. So you can pour the water through and it would permeate through the rock and come out through the face. And that would be clean, living water that you would be drinking. And it's fireproof. And it's got another property. You make it hot, you sit it in the sun, and it contains the heat, it holds the heat. And if you put it in the freezer, it does the reverse, it contains the cold. So it holds heat and it holds cold. This is why it's so good for people like the British Museum that have to have an ambient temperature, you see, because if it's hot outside, it draws the heat in and it stores it and then it passes it back as the inside gets cooler. And if it's too hot, it does the reverse. It's like constantly keeping the temperature. Once the temperature's set, when you build with stuff, it stays at that temperature. So now, instead of having it in a building, we've got it in something we can hold and we can move. Yeah? So that's got possibilities. Now, I've been studying the science on this. And if you see how it works, what it does is it acts like a pump inside of it. It sort of lives. It's like a vessel. Yeah? And you've got to get real techie and real science, and you've got to look at what hydrogen is and what HO2, you know, what water really is. Yeah? 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 of water. And hydrogen has a social order. Believe it or not. Hydrogen will sit with hydrogen and it will push the oxygen out. So all the hydrogen sits together and it pushes the oxygen to the middle. That's how a cloud stays together, you see, because it's a positive and a negative. Otherwise a cloud will just break up. A cloud was drifting about in the sky. What holds the cloud together? Well, it's the positive and the negative ion.
Well, I'll tell you what holds our network together, and that's cash, and we got to get some more of that by paying our bills. And then we're going to listen to a quick ad and then come back here at Time for Hemp.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcast
broadcasting network dedicated to ending the global war on drugs on iHeartRadio. Please share us with your friends.
Serious Seeds is your source for quality cannabis and sativa seeds. Serious Seeds are the creators of legendary strains like AK-47, Bubblegum, Chronic, Cali Mist, and White Russian. The AK-47 is probably the most awarded strain on the planet. The high THC content of AK-47 makes it the perfect medical strain for patients seeking quick pain relief. Cali Mist is an almost pure sativa. Female medical cannabis patients have reported that this strain helps relieve menstrual cramps. Serious Seeds just acquired another Dutch high-quality seed bank, Magus Genetics. From now on, Serious Seeds can offer you even more award-winning strains. The fine folks at Serious Seeds strive to breed the best cannabis genetics that they can find, so patients can rely on the effectiveness of their medicine. Go to SeriousSeeds.com to grow your medicine. That site again is SeriousSeeds.com.
Yes, stay alert with consciousness, be respectful of others, and if we do that, we should not need a nanny state to take care of us. I mean, some people like it when the government keeps them safe from themselves, but I'm one of those people who I don't need a nanny. I'm all big people. With that said, we are having a joint conversation with our joint friends here on the Big Joint broadcast. And don't forget, anytime you hear the word joint on the Big Joint broadcast, you need to hit your joints and take time for hemp. Kelly, Steve, I pass the conversation back to you.
Perfect. I'm just finishing my joint now.
I can't have one because it's illegal in England. I don't want to break the law, do I?
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
But I'm away in Jamaica. I can smoke as much as I want in Jamaica. I can smoke pounds of the fucking shit. And I do. I get up in the morning and have a big fat one.
Now, a lot of our listeners are not aware that marijuana saved your life, didn't it?
Marijuana certainly saved my life in more than one way, Casper. It saved my life physically because I had end stage. I had cirrhosis of the liver due to a blood transfusion that I had with tainted blood that had hepatitis C in it. So, actually, it came to light just recently. I'm now just coming up for nearly 4 years clear this November, or 4 years ago they pronounced that I was going to be dead within 48 hours. And just recently, standing on my lovely hill in Hastings, because I've had hepatitis since I was 19, but I didn't know it, I stood on my hill at the age of 58, and for the first time I felt like I knew what it was like not to be sick, but I never knew that before, you see, because I'd always been sick, so I thought it was normal. So I got to find out what it was like, possibly to have, for want of a better word, a normal body or a disease-free body. That was fucking quite a revelation, I'll tell you, bro. Yeah, quite a revelation. I hop and I skip a lot now, and I run a lot everywhere. Yes, because I can.
So what's new on the scene there in England with the marijuana movement and the cannabis hemp movement?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing's going on. The government has said no to everything. The hemp thing, that's been pretty much closed down as well. They're issuing no new licenses from next year. So the last two, we got the last of the independent licenses this year. It must probably be the last hemp crop in the UK, unfortunately. England's going backwards, darling. As everybody else goes legal, we're going the other way. So I don't think I'll be spending much more time in the UK. It's a waste of time. I've had a meeting with the top knobs, and they are adamant, and they was in Parliament the other day, and they had about 12 of the opposition. Well, we haven't got an opposition party here now, but 12 of the people that are not in power whinging about medical marijuana, and too rightly so, and throwing good facts at the government, but the government says no. They're quite happy with how it is, that it's a dangerous drug, and they're taking advice from their people, and their people have said no. And as I say, that they feel that because they have this company, GW Pharmaceuticals, that produce and sell some form of cannabis, something, that's fine. Yeah? And we can't even get it in the UK, by the way, because it's too expensive. Yeah, we can only get it on private prescription, which is very, 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 very expensive.
And how's the banking industry treating the hemp movement there still in England?
They're closing them down. They're now stopping any companies, like even hemp companies. A friend of mine, Sativa, he's been on my show, and I believe he sent Terry a little purse. Alf from Sativa Bags, big shout out going out to him. After all these years of just staying with hemp and doing what he does, he's even had trouble now getting the money from the bank because they say he's dealing in cannabis. So,
and that's just hemp clothing, right?
That's just hemp clothing and hemp bags, yeah.
Good golly.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Yeah, so all eyes on England. If you want to see how not to do it, this is definitely quite interesting what's going on here, because it's not just not how to do it. This is we're not doing it because we don't care what the rest of the world says. I do love England sometimes, but on this occasion, it really has got it wrong totally. Now,
well,
so
we are down to the last few minutes of the big broadcast. This is a good chance to give a shout out to all your favorite URLs and any organizations that you want to put a spotlight on. And we'll start with our joint guest, Steve Danks.
One big one going out to my brother-in-arms, Mr. Blacker at Portland, Orange Hill, in the district of Portland in Jamaica. He won't hear that, but Mr. Blacker is the best ganja grower in the whole wide world. I've spent nearly 3 months living on his floor with him. I'll tell you, man, you want to smoke ganja, you go and find Mr. Blacker. He's good. All right, that's it. The rest of you, I love you all. Beth, if you're listening, Dr. Beth Fisher and that, yeah, man, all that people. Terry Joyce, all them lovely people. All right, that's me finished. Go, Katie.
And we look forward to having your programming back on the Time for Hemp Broadcasting Network.
I want to come back. I miss you all so much. It's like my family.
All right, and Kelly?
I've got to get my ass together to do that.
Kelly?
You bet. For you medical patients that may have missed earlier, simple to get a hold of me. Send me an email to Kelly, Kelly, at kdkwholesale.ca. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We want to send you a vape.
And I want to remind people that we are not just a 1 hour broadcast, but we are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have a team of people here who are working diligently to end prohibition. You can also find an online magazine, Joint Conversations, by going to timeforhemp.com. It's free to subscribe to and share with your friends. We try to keep it to around about 20 pages so that those people who would like to have a magazine in their vaporizer rooms or in their head shops to hand out for free to their friends, they can print this out for less than a couple of bucks and write that off on their taxes too. And they can share it with all of their favorite customers and all the people they hang out with. You go to timeforhemp.com, you'll also find that we have an ongoing series of editorial cartoons that are popping up there each week. Download those and share those with your friends. All of the archives at Time for Hemp of all of our host programming is free to download and also share with your friends. And we have the Google app that you can get for your smartphones and all the other apps from Tumblr and SoundCloud and all the other smart devices that you work with. You can find an app for them at the timeforhemp.com website to what? Share with your friends. And with that said, we are going to end the big broadcast. Give our love to all of our brothers and sisters up in Canada. And remember, the next time you hear me, you'll know that it's Time for Hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and spend some time for him. Don't cut trees for takes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, time for help! Yeah!
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.